You are about to listen to a free portion of The Young Turks. To podcast the complete show, sign up for membership at tytnetwork.com/membership.
All right, back on The Young Turks. I'm so nervous, man. There's 49 minutes left before the polls close in Florida. We've got Florida, Ohio, Missouri, North Carolina, and Illinois tonight. It is going to be a thriller. John's going to come in with all the polls in about 30 minutes. Jimmy Dore is going to be here ready to go nuts. What do we say? Keep it calm, not keep it calm. Don't panic. Don't freak out. Don't freak out. Dude, don't freak out, man. But you know what? I'm ready to freak out right now. Speaking of freaking out, we go to Donald Trump. Okay, Donald Trump is speaking at a rally in Dayton, Ohio on March 14th when a protester starts to rush the stage. First of all, it's a terrible idea. Do not do that, okay? And he has a reaction here. And our reaction to his reaction is going to be a little unfair. Nonetheless, let's roll the tape.
We'll call up Carrier, the president. I guess I have to do it myself. I know it's not. Thank you for the warning. I was ready for him, but it's much easier if the cops do it. Don't we agree? What a great job.
Yeah, you were ready for it. Okay, listen. I don't blame him, though, man. If you get startled, you don't know what your reaction is going to be. And don't encourage the Trump idiots by rushing the stage. That's a terrible idea. And besides, there's Secret Service there, man. Next thing you know, thwap. Don't do it. Terrible idea. Nonetheless, we're going to look at it in slow motion.
We'll call up Carrier, the president. I guess I have to do it myself. I know it's not.
I shouldn't laugh. I denounce and reject myself. What? I had it on lockdown. Thank you to cops. Yeah, all right. That's with a bully, you know? You know how it is. They're all tough guys until... Oh, no. Do it one more time.
We'll call up Carrier, the president. I guess I have to do it myself. I know it's not...
It's not right, man. It's not right, but it's going to be okay. I'm glad he wasn't hurt. I'm glad he's fine. Just a little bit of humor, that's all. No big deal. But now you know this has become a thing. Okay. We move forward. Okay. All right. Let's go to Dr. Ben Carson. Shit, that was funny. This is also funny. Okay. I was crying there, man. I was crying. Okay. All right. Now, recently, Ben Carson dropped out of the race and decided to endorse Donald Trump in what has become the world's worst endorsement. This is phenomenal. So now he endorsed him, no question about it. He didn't equivocate. But he's going to go on Steve Malzberg's program, and he's going to say a number of questionable things that makes you wonder if he really did want to endorse him. But before he gets to that, just a fun little Ben Carson comment here as usual. When asked about the protesters being assaulted by Trump supporters at the rallies, Ben Carson said, "You have to place the blame where the blame is due, and the blame is due to the agitators." Ooh, classic Ben Carson. Those northern agitators coming up here and riling folks up. You don't need that, right? No, let's just be docile. Everything's going to be okay. All right, now on to the endorsement. He said, the way I look at it, even if Donald Trump turns out to be such a great president, which I don't think is the case, I think he's going to surround himself with really good people. But even if he didn't, we're only looking at 4 years as opposed to the multiple generations or perhaps the loss of the American dream forever. What? So your endorsement is, well, I mean, it's true, he could suck. But if he sucked, he'd only suck for 4 years. I'm not sure you can get a worse endorsement than that. Wait, hold, it turns out you can. So now, Dr. Carson, didn't he viciously attack you while you were in the race with the low energy and the and all that stuff, right? He says, well, that's the politics of personal destruction. That's nothing new. No, but wait, you're saying the guy you endorsed does the politics of personal destruction. That's not really an endorsement. Wait, it gets worse. He says, now, did you really want to endorse him or the other candidates? Quote, I had to look at what is practical. I didn't see a path for Kasich, who I like, or for Rubio, who I like. As far as Cruz is concerned, I don't think he's going to be able to draw independents and Democrats unless he has some kind of miraculous change. Is there another scenario that I would have preferred? Yes, but that scenario isn't available. Oh my God, you just said you'd rather endorse Kasich or Rubio, but you think Trump's going to win, so you're like, nah, I'm going to play to my own political advantage. You know what I'm saying? If I thought Kasich or Rubio could win, I like those guys a lot better. You should probably vote for them. But anyway, meanwhile, Donald, what can I get? Now, that was as clear as it can be. But just to make it clear, Steve Malzberg asked him, when he talked about the scenarios that weren't available, he said, with one of the other candidates, you mean? Ben Carson says, yeah. What a knucklehead. You're not supposed to admit that if you're endorsing the other guy. Yeah, would I have liked to endorse other candidates? Well, that scenario would have been wonderful. But I wouldn't have gotten paid off that scenario. If you think that's unclear, hold. Now, here's this exchange. Ben Carson, I do believe, and certainly in my discussions with Donald Trump, he does love America and he does want to be successful, and he will surround himself with very good people. Malzberg, and will one of them be Dr. Ben Carson? Carson, I will be doing things as well. Yeah. In the administration? Certainly in an advisory capacity. That's been determined? When you sat down with him, that was discussed? Carson, yes. Oh, you knucklehead. You're not supposed to say that. That's a quid pro quo. Hey, you endorse me, I give you a spot in my administration. Nobody admits that. You're not supposed to admit it. But this guy doesn't know any better. He's like, I would have liked Kasich or Rubio, but they weren't going to win and give me something. And I got to get paid. You know what I'm saying? You know, those agitators, you don't know anything. I got to go to the White House. It's really comfortable there. So, yeah, did I talk to him and prearrange that he's going to give me something for my endorsement? Yes. One sad, sad man. Okay, we go forward. I don't have time to pause. I ain't got time to bleed. Okay, all right. Recently, Reuters Ipsos had a poll where they asked Americans, who do you think is the most trustworthy to lead the military? You know what the answer was? Feel the burn. Bernie Sanders, number one. 38% thought Bernie Sanders was the most trustworthy to lead the military. 31% Hillary Clinton. 26% Donald Trump. 20 to Ted Cruz. 19 to Kasich. And poor Marco Rubio, down at 16%. Now, isn't that interesting? Because if you listen to the mainstream media, they say Marco Rubio is the one that's always talking about foreign policy and how he's tough and he's going to invade people and he's going to bomb them, and he has the most foreign policy experience in that regard. First of all, no, he doesn't. He's a first-term senator. He's surrounded himself with neocons and war hawks, so the mainstream media says that means the American people think that Marco Rubio is going to do better in that. No, they don't. They don't think that in the Republican primary where he's getting killed. And when you flat out ask them, they're like, no, he's at the bottom. He's not at the top. He's at the bottom. And the mainstream media, when you listen to Bernie Sanders, that's a commander-in-chief. Come on, I don't think the American people are ready for that. Well, you never asked them, did you? Now you asked them, and it turns out they said, yeah, we're ready for that. We've got him at number one, way above the Republicans. Now, Reuters did the poll, and listen to their description of it and the framing of it. Quote, who do Americans think would be the most trustworthy person to lead the nation's military? The answer may surprise you. According to a new Reuters Ipsos poll, the highest scoring candidate for the post is Democrat Bernie Sanders. Now, I put inflections there in how I read it, I know that, but the words are right there. Because for the establishment media, Bernie Sanders trusted with the military, well, he wouldn't invade anyone. He wouldn't bomb anyone. Oh, maybe that's why he's most trusted. But that thought never occurred to them. That's why it's like, what happened? What is this? I mean, it's surprising to have a Democrat up there because we're told that the Republicans who like to be more interventionist and be more warlike, hawk-like, etc., are the ones that Americans trust. It turns out that's not the case. You just ask them, and they'll tell you. They trust Bernie Sanders. Now, Reuters has done the poll. This is very clear. You can do another one. It'll come out with the same result. Do you think going forward, now that this is incredibly clear, that the rest of the establishment media, or even Reuters itself, will acknowledge the American people would like Bernie Sanders to lead the military? They find him the most trustworthy. They will never speak of it again. And the next time the topic comes up, everyone you see on TV will say the exact opposite. I tell you ahead of time so you can say, oh, yeah, okay, now I get it, I trust them. That's exactly what happened. You'll see. If you find any instance in the establishment media where they talk about, like, no. Let's be very clear. The American people do not trust the Republicans on handling the military. They trust Bernie Sanders a lot more. Good luck trying to find that. Okay, now that's the reality. Now, one more thing about this. They asked about Donald Trump within just Republicans. Now, this earlier result was for everybody. This is just in the Republican primary they asked. And I love their surprise here as well. Reuters asked the commander-in-chief question a second time in this election cycle to see if there was a change as Trump continued to express his admiration for Russian leader Vladimir Putin, Trump's embrace of waterboarding as an interrogation technique, and his threats to take out the families of suspected militants. They answer, Republicans are even more trusting of Trump as commander-in-chief than they were in December. According to the Reuters Ipsos poll, from March 10th through 13th, 51% of Republicans said they trust him in the position, compared with 41% for Ted Cruz, 30% for Rubio, and 29% for Kasich. In the earlier December poll, that number was at 42%. It's gone up to 51%. Now, establishment media, how many times do I have to say this? Because apparently you continue to be shocked and chagrined by this. Republican primary voters don't support Donald Trump despite his savagery, racism, and discrimination. They support him because of his savagery, racism, and discrimination. So you're like, oh, wow, even though he said those horrible things about torture and killing innocent family members, despite that, his numbers went up. No. Because of that, his numbers went up. That's what the Republican primary voters want. They've said it 1,000 times. They've voted in that way 100 times. When are you going to get it through their head? They are racist. They are vicious. They are barbarians. But you can't say that because I got to be neutral. Now, unless I'm framing it in a different direction, and I tell you the Republicans are always great at war and Bernie Sanders is not trusted. Oops. Turns out the American people think the exact opposite. All right. Now, one last story for you guys here before we start the primary coverage. You guys got P1 through 5 again? Did I tell you that? I did, right? Okay. So recently we had a rally for Trump in Chicago, but it was canceled because there were protesters. I want to show you the protesters because it's going to relate to this story. And now a lot of the protesters that showed up were actually in larger numbers than even the Trump supporters who came there. And a lot of minorities in the crowd, African Americans, Latinos, and of course immediately Sarah Palin started to call them thugs. Now, that's Sarah Palin, we're used to that. But what's more concerning is how the Chicago police are going to handle this, right? Now, oftentimes we see cops throwing out people who were assaulted during the protest. The protester will rise up in a Trump rally, somebody will push him, hit him, punch him, and the cops will take out the guy who got punched instead of the guy who did the punching. Now, in Chicago, they've got a piece of tape on the police scanner where it starts out with, looks like some sort of flirting that doesn't appear to be too overly welcome, but it gets much, much worse. And now this is the immediately after these protests. That's why I showed you the picture. This is the morning after at 8:30 a.m. Listen.
Which robber company? Well, I thought you called. Did I call? No, boo. It's too early to be bothering you. Good morning. Good morning. Up there. How many boyfriends you have? Why you all in my Kool-Aid? Why you over here? You can answer that again. Busted over the head.
Typical fucking niggers. Somebody going this shit is them.
Alright, okay. Come on.
65. Find out what radio that comment came from.
We don't get radio numbers, but I'm already hollering for my supervisor.
There's a couple of beeps in there in case you didn't get it. I'm going to read it to you verbatim because I want you to understand the ugliness of the words. Now, the Chicago police are saying, I don't know who was on that transmitter, but we'll look into it. Yeah, that's used by cops. Cops were on it. Okay, I hope they have a real investigation. Here's what one of them said. Black Lives Matter my ass, fucking niggers. Now, these guys are there in the community right now. Now, that transmission, by the way, came from the far south side and Morgan Park areas of Chicago, which is heavily African American. You want that guy patrolling those streets? You think he's there to protect you? So what does the Chicago Police Department do? They called it, quote, an inappropriate transmission on a police frequency. Yeah, I guess it is that. It seems a little worse than that. Okay, but maybe that's just technical jargon. What are you going to do if you catch the guy? The statements made are absolutely unacceptable, and Superintendent Escalante has ordered an immediate internal affairs investigation into this incident. Good. Should the investigation reveal that a member of the police department made the statements, he will be immediately suspended and disciplinary proceedings will be launched. Ooh, you're going to suspend him. Gee, I wonder why the community doesn't trust the cops. This guy is walking among them right now, and that's his mindset. And the cops look at him and go, oh, yeah, that's troubling. That's an inappropriate transmission. That guy might even get suspended. Wow. Oftentimes, unfortunately, the police have earned the distrust of the community. And when people, especially in a situation like this, where they came out to exercise the most fundamental American right that there is. There's no violence. All there was people coming out, assembling and protesting against Donald Trump, who is a hate monger. And these guys come out and couldn't be more American. First Amendment rights. The next morning, cops are calling them the N-word. And they're patrolling their streets. If you can't understand why the African-American community might not trust those cops, you're not trying to understand. You're trying to close your eyes to it. And basically what you're saying is, I don't really care what happens to black people. Those cops aren't there to protect that community. They're here to protect my community from them. And if you can't understand why that's deeply frustrating, again, you're not paying attention. And I think the protests against the cops in a lot of these areas are not nearly enough. They're not too much. They're not enough. Everybody keep it civil, just like before. But should they protest this kind of police department? Hell yeah, they should. Okay. All right, I'm out of time. Guys, in 15 minutes, primary coverage starts. Stay right here. I say that like, where are you going to go? In the old days, you'd flip channels, right? But, I suppose you can go out shopping. Anyway, primary coverage, man. Florida, Ohio, Illinois, huge states, North Carolina, Missouri as well. Will Donald Trump seal the deal tonight? Will Bernie Sanders catch Hillary Clinton in Illinois and Ohio? Will there be major upsets as there were in Michigan? I am on pins and needles. If you love politics, you care about this country, because, boy, there couldn't be a bigger difference between Bernie Sanders to Donald Trump. This is a momentous election, and this March 15th primaries tonight is as big a deal in this election as you could have. This is more important than Super Tuesday. So first of all, to the members who made it happen, thank you. TYTnetwork.com/join, so you can have this alternative media, so you can watch it with people who are actually excited about it and are going to give you the truth about it. And then tell all your friends, neighbors, everybody right now that at 6:45 p.m. 6:45 p.m. Eastern, tytnetwork.com/live. It's on. I'll see you in a minute.